Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to wherever you're listening to Love Bay Afrobeats Music Talk Radio. Welcome to another edition of the England Rogers Sports Hour on a Saturday morning. Joining you here from Toronto. And Roger, as we were just talking out here, lots happening in the sports world, in cricket, track and field. Cricket especially.
Canadian cricket too. Good morning, everyone. But yeah, Canadian cricket is in the spotlight, believe it or not.
Yeah, it is, and not for the right reasons, but hopefully everything works out well. There's always two sides to the story, and there's always, some people say three sides, right?
Yeah. What's in the middle can be the truth, and then
Yeah,
their story and his story. But
yeah,
it's not something you would want to have to deal with at all. So that story should not be out there, whether it's genuine or accurate or not. It just should not be there.
yeah. But the makers, the media is always wants a story. So
Yeah, and if it's bad story, it is good news.
it's
So
good news.
they go after it really hard if they find something that they can make somebody feel bad.
Yeah, it does, and I guess we can say what we're talking about. Basically, is a Canadian captain who was stopped and helping with an investigation for being found with marijuana. About these, I think reports say there was about 20 pounds of marijuana, and
Which is a lot, Ingo. That
it
is a
is
lot.
a lot. It is a lot.
That's
So,
not something you smoke in a few minutes.
yes, it is a lot, and yeah, he's been officially. I guess he was arrested. He was released
On bail.
on bail. Yes.
But he's in Barbados, right?
He is in Barbados. That's where he got stopped, and but he's free to travel. He's free to continue his work, and
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, how did he get away? Anyway, I don't know.
The lawyers would deal with those things, but yeah, he's definitely free to travel, so he can come back and play for Canada until his court date.
Okay.
So
That's good news for Canadian cricket.
it is good news. Yes, definitely good news for Canadian cricket. But I'm sure, as a young man, he's going through a lot mentally,
I'm
and
sure.
just
You're
hope.
going to have to put on your mentorship hat, Ingo.
Yes, I'm just hoping that you know whatever it comes out of it, it's a learning lesson, and just hoping,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, that,
A young man with a lot of talent, and let's see what happens in terms of the truth coming out. But for now, yeah, we'll just let the lawyers do their thing, and everything will play out in the end.
yes, everything will play out in the end, and once he get his day in court, he'll be able to show his part, and it will be up to eventually, I guess, the judges to make the final decision. But
Yes,
I'm just hoping for the best. He's got a good life in front of him, a young man with a long life in front of him, a good
yes,
career. So,
yes.
as we said, everything's a learning lesson. A lot of people have gone along the way, got into trouble and got out of it. I always think about people who have had things happen to them, been to prison, been to whatever, and then come out being successful.
Correct. There's always an opportunity if you get a second chance if something really happens.
Yes, definitely, Sandra. Just hoping that he wouldn't have to get anything serious. But we'll follow it closely, Roger, and we will update as time goes along.
For sure. But yeah, it's sad news. But as I say, it's early days, and hopefully it's a positive for Canadian cricket and for the Canadian cricket captain, Mr. Curtin.
Yes, hopefully it will be. And I'm looking forward to seeing him get cleared and back in Canadian colors.
Correct. I mean, after what happened in Namibia, I think we do need him, right?
Yes, we definitely do need him. Yes, definitely need him for sure. And there's a tournament coming up starting on the 19th of this month in Cayman Islands, which is a new North American Cup. But
Right.
and then after that, it's World League Two, which is in the USA. So definitely
Okay.
will be needed for that one.
Yeah, and it's all in our hemisphere, so it's not far for him and good conditions in terms of familiar conditions. So it should be good for
Yes,
Canada.
it definitely should be good for Canada. And Canada needs to win those games to get back on track and beat USA for sure, because USA is the leading country at the moment.
I know you were there in Namibia, so you could probably say what really and truly happened. But we do need to win a few games right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, we definitely do need to win some games. And let's hope that happens.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's we started with some cricket news, yeah, which usually we talk later, but we'll get on to
Well, I mean, it's on top of everybody's radar in terms of Canada. So
yeah,
yes, we sort of have to start with that one because that's a big one.
yes,
Looking
I've
at
been getting so many. I've had to ignore my social media and my WhatsApp and stuff for a couple of days because it was just too
just
many.
being flooded.
It's been too many. Yeah, it's just been a
Yeah,
little.
I figured. I said, you know what? I'm not going to bother Ingle with this one because you're the president, so I'm sure everybody wants a piece of you right now.
Everybody wants to talk to me. Yeah, I'm general manager, not president.
Yeah, general manager. Sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, everybody's calling me and texting me, and yeah, but definitely we will follow that and keep people up to date on what's happening.
For sure. But there's a lot of other sports going on
Hmm.
now, and it's a very active time, and it's coming to spring, turning into summer soon, and everything is happening right now. I think it's a good time for sports.
It's a good time for sports, and when we get onto track and field, I was the Grand Slam of track and field started last night, which you would talk about, and I saw something from Gabby Thomas though. She said usually at this time you're just trying to get into form, but so much is at stake this time.
I know
You
it's
have,
$50,000 on the line here. So
yeah,
in April it's your early season. You're just trying to figure out what your season is gonna be like, and now you got to run for $50,000. You gotta show up and be ready.
yeah, and she I guess she's in the history books because she's the first winner of a Grand Slam event.
First Grand Slam race was the 200 for long sprinters, and she won it pretty
Yeah,
easily as well. She was dominant. I think it was just her race to take.
yeah. I was actually trying to find it last night, but I probably had the times wrong because I think
Yeah,
I was
it's like,
reading the times, but and then I realized that I was reading the England time zones.
oh my word, no, you were way off. You're
Yeah,
5 hours or so out. It's Jamaica time 5:42 p.m. So Canadian time 6:42 p.m.
right.
That's when it actually started. I think it started at the same time today as well.
Oh, great. I'll definitely look at it this evening.
Yes, for
Okay,
sure.
yeah. We can go. Come back to track and field in a bit, but we can just talk a bit about Formula One because the Japanese Grand Prix is on this weekend, and a
It
familiar
is.
name is back at the top. In
I
the
was I was pleasantly surprised, I must say, because we've been talking about where is Mr. Verstappen, but he showed up big time, big time. So never count him out. Never ever count him out. He's on the pole, Ingle.
Yes, he's on the pole, and the headlines is actually says very rare. Verstappen laps stuns Red Bull and McLaren, so
I know.
they're both surprised.
I know. I know.
You know,
But the McLarens have been dominant so far from the start of the season. I mean, they had a 1-2 and all of that. So high expectations there. And to see the Red Bull show up and do this, it's like, whoa, Mr. Verstappen, this is all you.
yeah, it is all him. I mean, he had a pretty good time in
Yes.
the final qualifying and got the pole. And Lewis Hamilton is down at eight. Leclerc is at fourth. So I guess, of course, Red Bull, McLaren two and three. So it's
Yes.
going to be Ferrari four, Mercedes five and six. Wow. So Red Bull at seven, and then Lewis at Ferrari at eight again. So it's going to be a good race.
Yeah, those four are going to make it very interesting this year. I think Ferrari sort of behind because of the disqualifications last time.
Hmm.
But yeah, McLarens are looking like they want to be champions and they're off to a fantastic start. I don't think Red Bull is going to beat them for the championships, but for the individual drivers, I think Verstappen is going to make it very interesting for sure. I'm not sure if George Russell can do it for Mercedes as well, but Mercedes is going to be in the mix. So Mercedes, Ferrari, sort of behind the McLarens, but it's going to be an interesting year, Ingo.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. And it's as you said, it's going to be the McLarens and the Red Bull. But I think individually, I'm with you. It's probably going to be Norris in the
Yes,
Red Bull. But it's going to be very interesting year this year.
and
And if
exciting.
exciting, and if Verstappen gets out clear to this evening and tonight our time, I think it's about
Yes,
11:30 our time. If he gets out clear, then it's going to be tough to catch him. But
I know. That's sort of what makes it so interesting for me because I believe if he finds a way to win this one when McLaren is in the best form of their lives, I would say,
mhm.
then it's going to show that, you know what, this guy's for real and this championship is not going to be a walkover for McLaren at all.
Yes, definitely. We will look. I'm gonna try and stay up and watch this tonight, but we'll see how it works out.
Yes, yes,
Definitely would like to see the race.
yes. It should be an exciting race for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely looking forward to it.
definitely looking forward to it. So that's the Formula One this evening. Those of you who want to stay up and look at it, it should be on later
Yes,
this evening around 11:30 our time.
yeah,
So we should be able to get a fantastic race there.
for sure, for sure, for sure. I'm glad that Red Bull made a big move and Verstappen is on the pole because for sure now it's not going to be a McLaren walkover. So I'm looking forward to the race tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good race, and yeah, but I'm still not back. I'm not backing Verstappen to win, but he's a
No,
good driver.
neither am I. Neither am I. I want to see Ferrari come up, but I'm also having an eye on Mercedes because I love Mercedes.
Yeah, I like Mercedes too. And Mercedes disappointed that Lewis had to leave, but
Leave, yeah,
it's all
yeah.
business, and let's hope that it's gonna be tough for him to get on the podium from eighth position with such good drivers in front of
In
him.
front of him, yeah. All the big names are ahead of him right now, but I mean, he's in my opinion the best, so he'll find a way. But it's very unlikely, and if something happens, that he would be on top of the podium somewhere
It is very unlikely, but yeah, we'll see if he can do something and get there. But
for sure.
yeah, I'm gonna go now and talk some tennis, Roger.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
and yeah, last week was a big surprise to me at Miami.
Which one? The
And
women or the males?
the men's side, the women, I wasn't surprised. But
Sabalenka, she's just running everybody out of the courts.
yes, Sabalenka is just there. But the men's finals,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Djokovic losing to Mensik.
Yeah, that was he's a 6'4" guy, so he's a big guy and he's only 19, so he's young and big and powerful. But to see him battle Djokovic that way, it was like, whoa, who is this kid? And Djokovic was going for his 100th title, so
Yeah,
it was a big game for him, right?
definitely was. And they know a bit of each other because I think Mensik actually was mentored a bit by Djokovic and
Yes, he
trained with
was.
him. Yeah,
Yes,
so he probably knows a bit about his game. But
yes,
still, as we talked about last week, it's always difficult when you're going for that milestone, that
yes.
extra pressure.
It's the toughest game ever, no matter how easy it is. Mentally, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, because in the back of your mind, you know it's that 100th win.
Yes,
And,
yes.
yeah, but you still have a chance to get there. And
Lots of chances, but I mean, everybody thought this was the best chance because
yep,
Mensik isn't highly ranked at this point in time. And you can see that Djokovic fought for this because it was 7-6, 7-6. So, they battled. It was a battle.
it was a battle for sure. And he's getting close to the end of his career, so you need to get that. Don't want to be stuck on 99. I think
99. Can you imagine? That
yeah,
would drive him nuts.
it would. It's not a number you want to be stuck on.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And the women's singles, as we said, not a much of a surprise. Sabalenka beating Pegula. Pegula
True.
fought in the first set, but then the second set was an easy 6-2. So
Yes, I will say that. I mean, you have to be impressed with how Sabalenka is just taking over tennis. I mean, I thought she was a solid number two to Swiatek, and with Kokogov coming to break them up. But
mhm.
Kokogov seems to have disappeared, and Swiatek seems to be, I don't know, she's stepping backwards. So it's all Sabalenka.
It's all Sabalenka at the moment. And as we talk about Coco Gauff, she made a change. I mean, it's not a major change, but she's gone away from Federer's management group.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know. Sometimes there's so many changes in sports that it's just maybe a little mental thing that I want to do something different. But I think she needs to
absolutely.
focus. She needs to focus and get back to where she was last
A
year.
100%, 100%. And as who you have behind you and with you is extremely important. So, maybe the chemistry just wasn't that great with her management team, and she wants to feel comfortable when she's out there. So maybe she wasn't, and she's making the moves to make sure that she is. So let's hope it works out and she doesn't have to keep changing. But whenever it's not working, English, you gotta say it's not working and try something different.
Yes, and that's what she's doing, and that's pretty good on her part.
Yes, yes.
We want to see some, besides her, we want to see some Canadians winning again too.
Yeah, both the men. I mean, Felix went down pretty quickly. Shapovalov as well, and Leila Fernandez, and Andreescu. They're all struggling a bit. They're
Mhm.
up there in terms of you'll see their names show up, and but they don't go very far anymore. So, except Felix, I think won a couple of tournaments at the beginning of the year. He won three of them. But other than that, I think Canada needs a little jolt in their system to start getting on top again.
Yes, they do. And for these women, they don't, well, tennis players on a whole, they don't get a big break because they finished last week and they're back at it again this week in
I know,
Charleston.
I know, I
So
know.
it's just, sometimes they, I think they finish one day and they just jump on a plane and use their private jet if they have
Get
one,
and we get to the next
get
game.
to the next game. So,
Yeah, which is tough, but I mean, yeah, sometimes if you want to make sure that you're fit and you're working on a part of your game, it may not be a bad thing, but you got to be fit. Because if you're not fit and doing that, then you're going to have problems because you're going to be too tired to perform.
yeah, definitely will be. But, so I think Pegula is back playing. She played
Yes,
this morning or yesterday in the quarterfinals, and she won over Collins and fellow American.
yes,
And,
yes.
that's this, and this tournament is probably a tough one because she won. Yes, it's like there's no day off. She's back at it today with
Yeah, you know, yeah, those are the tough ones. It's just back to back to back games. Very difficult.
yeah, Alexandrova. She beat Queen Zen in the
Yes,
other games, so they're back at it today, and I guess tomorrow too because the finals will be tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah,
So it's no day off in this
it's a
tournament.
quick and done tournament.
Yeah, for sure. You're listening to the England Rogers Sports Hour on Love Bay Afrobeats Music Talk Radio. There anything else you want to talk about before we get into?
Quickly on the tennis, the
Mhm.
top 20 men's and women's players, they've sent a letter that they want more money, Ingle. So they've requested that they get a greater share of the revenue generated by Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open. So I guess it's just a sign of the times, right? I mean, everybody wants more money.
I mean, I guess maybe Liv started it, so why
Yeah,
can't they? Yeah, it's a lot of things there. Top, yeah, they ask for more prize money and yeah,
I thought
so
we were fairly well paid, but I mean, I get where they're coming from. Everybody's getting more money these days, so
yeah, everybody's getting well paid this year in sports, so
yeah,
you can't blame them for asking for that.
nothing's wrong with that at all. Nothing's wrong with that.
Um, it's a lot on their body, and then they have to think about when they retire too, right? What do they?
There you go. What happens after I'm done playing?
When they don't play it, yes, it's not enough to sustain their lifestyle. So
And you can imagine the lifestyle that they have, right? Maybe those
most of
private
them,
jets needs to
yeah,
be maintained, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Quickly
yeah.
before we go to cricket,
Mhm.
a little golf here because Rory McIlroy has become
Yeah,
the second golfer after Tiger Woods to exceed $100 million in career earnings on the PGA Tour. So kudos to him.
yeah.
There's a lot of talk he's not as good as whatever, but he's $100 million richer on the tour. So what can we say?
No, exactly, because he's not. Every time I watch tennis, I always say, well, there's always so much talk about Rory,
Yes,
but
yes.
he just doesn't get to that win. Yeah, so he's the second, as you said, behind Tiger. Tiger's earned over 120 million,
Yes, yes, he has. He has.
and Rory 100. Scotty Scheffler is
Yeah.
75 million in earnings. So I
And
think that
Mickelson, who is over in Live, he's at 97, so he's close. But I mean, this
well,
is just PGA numbers. So,
yes. Well, in live if you win, you get there very quickly.
well, I think he signed for like $200 million. So, I mean, yes, he will get there extremely quickly. And Live is on the way to. I think there is a tournament going on in Miami right now. So
There is.
money is going to be made very quickly for these kids in Live.
There's some discussion that Liv has been told to give it up. That
By who? Trump?
well, I don't know if it's true, but they've been basically told that they're not going. It's not making the money that they thought they would, and I don't think backers will keep pumping money into something that's not happening. If they're not getting the viewership, the TV rights, etc.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
As much money as Saudi Arabia has, at some point they're going to say this is not a good way to spend our money.
Yeah. And some of the players have been accused of not really putting in the hard work and making it something worth watching.
That's probably a good point. I mean, if I'm making $50 million and then suddenly I'm get signed for 200 or 300 million, then I'm doing the same thing. Why am I working hard?
Yeah, exactly. So, like a guy like Dustin Johnson, he was one of the best players going in before he joined Live, but
100%, yeah.
he's just dropped down so much since joining.
They almost feel like they're on holidays all the time.
Yeah, they actually said, yeah, they're not, they had to play 4 days over in the PGA. Now they're saying 3 days is fine, and you can wear shorts and do whatever you want.
You
But
want? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like a party, right? The
It
music.
is too leisurely for a professional sport.
Yes, it is. So hopefully they'll look at it and it will, yeah. And the I think there was also an offer from PIF for 1.5 billion to help with Live, but the
Oh, okay.
PGA rejected it.
Oh boy. That battle is going to go on until, as you say, Live is gone, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Because part of the offer was that the Live board member was going to be co-CEO, and they
Yes,
said no.
correct.
This PGA said no, so that will be something to deal with. We'll see how that plays out.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. So, wanted to anything else you wanted to talk about before we
Now
go
we
on?
can head over to cricket, lovely cricket. There's so much going on in cricket. I mean, we talked about the Canadian side, but there's a lot in the West Indies. There's a lot going on in IPL. So cricket, lovely cricket.
Actually, before we get into the actual cricket, I wanted to. I don't know if you heard about. I was listening to Sports Max, and there's a story about a West Indian player, female player, alleging sexual harassment during the 2020 World Cup.
Oh,
And the manager confirmed that it happened, and she had to take the player into her room and talk to her and try to secure her, as she said.
oh my God.
And
That's serious.
it is serious. And there was an interview with a sports psychologist who was a former Barbados and West Indies A-team player, and she said that she called it it's a word that I learned, otherness. She said when you're not with them, they consider you as part of the otherness. And she said there's a lot going on. She didn't confirm that is what happened, but she said she did enough to protect herself. And
Wow.
also, she also said, depending on the country the person is from, it's 6 years, and they can still file a claim. And,
Wow. So they're legal right now to file a claim. It's not 6 years yet.
not 6 years yet. And actually, the current president of West Indies, Shallow, said he remember when Ricky Skerritt was president, hearing the discussion, and they had put something into the players' contracts about safety in sport, safe sport and harassment.
I think I did see that go in. I didn't know why, but I think I did see that go in about
Yes.
safety and harassment. Yes.
So it was, I actually listened to the whole interview today. It was half an hour long, and it was very interesting to find out that they claim that it's still going on at in the women's team.
Yeah, that's a tricky conversation, but I believe that reputation-wise, they say those things do happen on those teams, but I would not. I've never heard about it being abusive or anything like that. It just
Right.
happens.
But this one player's claimed that she had to, and in fact, what I think now they've identified that the players now have their own rooms; they don't share anymore.
That was one of the things that they got recently. I did remember that as well. So I thought, what, maybe they're just making sure that that doesn't happen.
One of the things that it's such a bad time to bring this out because West Indies are now playing in the qualifiers in Pakistan,
Yes.
and this
Yes.
coming to the front at this point.
The timing is interesting, I must say. I mean, it's 5 years.
5 years.
And I mean, I don't know why they bring it up right now when they should be focused to get into the playoffs. They're in the qualifiers and they need to do well, and they should do well, but this can be a distraction for them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the player that brought it up. The
I'm
player's been
wondering though. That's $1 million question for me. Is like, who started this? I mean, it's 5 years later, so who's breaking it up?
Yeah, the player hasn't. It's still an unidentified player, unnamed player. So don't know who that is, but I'm sure we'll hear more about it. Depends on.
But as you say, it's still happening. So I think that's the scary part.
Yes, it still has 6 years, and being part of the Olympic Committee and stuff. These countries, they have to follow certain protocols.
Safety in sport is extremely important. You don't have a safety in sport program, then you're in trouble.
You're in trouble, and you should also have a safeguard officer for these things.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so it's really interesting to see who. West Indies put out a joint statement with WIPA.
Okay.
Yeah, but listening to the young lady this morning, who is a doctor, I can't remember the name, but she's a PhD in sports psychology. She said it should not have come from the president of West Indies. It should have come from a safety
officer.
Yeah. So
that's what the process should be.
See.
Yeah, that's what the process should be. You should go through that, and then it goes up. That person should report the incident to the president.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, I'm just looking at this joint statement from West Indies now and WIPA on athlete safeguarding, where they say they're aware of the allegations of sexual harassment within the West Indies women team during the 2020 ICC Women's World T20 Cup 5 years ago. So I guess they're aware of it, but both organizations take such matters seriously and remain fully committed to ensure safe, professional, and supportive environment for all players and staff.
I think ChatGPT wrote that one for them. They had no input in that at all. It's something you press a button and it spits that out whenever something like this happens.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And they're going to say that they have implemented a strictly adhered to UNICEF's children protection policy, ensuring that minors never share rooms with adults under any circumstances. Additionally, we have mandated ongoing training for all officials to reinforce and uphold these standards. But wow.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll follow that, Roger, and see where that takes us.
Where that one goes. I think, of course, the big question is who? Who did this happen to? What's the name?
Who is the person?
That's going to be what everybody's asking. So let's see if that's going to be leaked at any point soon.
I am sure there are people who know exactly.
Lots of people know. I'm sure. It's just that I don't know. Or maybe you don't know yet. I should say yet.
I'm sure we could make a phone call and find out.
Sure.
Yeah, but we'll follow that story and see how it goes because it's a serious allegation.
It is extremely serious, and I'm actually quite surprised and perturbed.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be happening.
It definitely should not be happening. So we'll move from the West Indies problems there to the on-field and talk a bit about the ongoing 4-day championship, which you pointed out was on a break again.
And, it's driving me nuts, but I think it probably points out who can maintain their form, so they get all these breaks and say, let me see if you're going to come back as good as you were before we left. That must be why they take all these breaks.
Probably, but definitely wasn't good for Trinidad and Tobago because Jamaica's Scorpions won by 223 runs.
They destroyed them. I was quite surprised. I mean, Trinidad has Jason Mohammed with how many double centuries and Silva with how many centuries? I mean, what happened here?
None of them got centuries. It was Jervell Glenn, actually. I saw him score his first List A century, I was quite impressed. I think we spoke about him. He was a bowler who turned the batsman.
Yeah. But 140 not out is quite impressive.
It's very impressive. And he did very well. And Blackwood came back at 61.
Yeah.
67 for Abijay Mansingh. And Jamaica was always in control of this game.
From the first day, they came out bad. And I mean, when I saw Brandon King with that duck, I was like, okay. But, and John Campbell with 2, I was like, okay. But when you look at that batting lineup, you got Kurt McKenzie, Blackwood, Brandon King, John Campbell. And then, of course, now you have Javel Glenn right behind them. So a good top five.
Good top five. And I listened to the interview with Javel Glenn, and he sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders. And
Yes.
he was on 99 not out the night before, and
I know. I was a little worried about that. You don't want to come off the field at 99.
no, he said he slept well. He said he didn't think about it.
Look at him.
He said I went and had a good night's sleep and came back. And
But he apparently did, because he was 140 not out. So nothing bothered this young man.
no, he said he puts everything in God's hands, and sounds like a God following guy, like a Christian kind of guy, minded guy. So which is good.
Very good.
Yeah, but Trinidad and Tobago, 171 and 165 wasn't definitely not enough.
That's not cutting it in any competition, and I'm a little surprised how poorly they batted.
I am actually didn't expect, especially the second innings. I thought there would have been a bigger fight, but
Me too. I was wondering if the pitch was crumbling or something, because Jamaica didn't do so well in the second innings either. I know Brandon King got 89, but they made 186 or something?
Yes, 186. Yeah, so not that good. But a name that I didn't expect to be among the wickets so much is Odin Smith. He had 3 for 19.
Yeah. I've always felt he's mediocre, and he probably still is, but he's been doing fairly okay. He's been consistent in this tournament. He takes a couple of wickets here, he makes a few runs there. So, they can rely on him. The Jamaicans are relying on him, and he's stepping up.
He is. He's doing well, actually. So, the other games that are ongoing, Leeward Islands and Guyana in a battle, but I have a feeling that will probably draw. The Leeward Islands, Guyana batted first, 193. Leeward Islands 335. And Guyana second time 422 for 4.
I know.
So I don't know. There's just one day to go, and
this game is a draw. More than likely, it's a draw.
101 to Anderson, his third century, and Tevin Imlach not being outdone by De Silva. He got 122 not out at the moment.
He's showing that he's not slowing down, no matter if you give me a break or not. He's back and he's still doing well.
Yeah, he's got his third century for the year. So he replaced De Silva last series as keeper, so he probably wants to keep his spot.
It's a big battle between those two. I actually still prefer De Silva, but at the end of the day, Imlach is doing enough to keep his spot.
And the battle is good, actually.
Yes.
It's good to see.
Very good to see.
Yeah.
Fighting for their spots.
Yep, definitely. And a couple other games, combined campuses, 238 and then West Indies Academy 316, but in a second time combined campuses. They've got 320 for 6. Johan Jeremiah is on 107.
Yeah.
So centuries are being scored.
A lot of centuries. It's good batting is going on in this tournament, I must say.
It is, yes, definitely. I think for the West Indies Academy, I was disappointed. Teddy Bishop, a batsman who I do like, he got out for 99. So
that's a magical number almost. You get there, you're worried. If I'm batted, I'm fine with 98 or 97. I don't want to get to 99. I'm gonna get me too nervous.
It is, it gets you nervous for sure. And the other game that's ongoing, Windwards and Barbados in a battle. Barbados require 124 runs to win with 7 wickets remaining. So Shane Mosley, who scored a couple of centuries himself, he's on 79, and Kyle Mayer is back in the team. He's on 54.
Oh, solid guy.
So that one should be an interesting encounter.
It will definitely be.
One of the disappointments for me this season, I mean, the second innings of this game, he got some runs, was Alec Athanaze. He's not been that consistent for a while.
For quite a while, I must say. I think when he came in, and so much expectations and optimism about him, but he started off well, but I think he shows up when he feels like almost. And at his age and what is expected, it's a disappointment, I must say.
Very much so. And I think what's his name? Kevin Hodge. He's not too happy because we talk about 99, but when you get run out for 99,
Oh my God,
it's even worse.
that's way worse. That's the
Yeah,
hardest thing ever, I think.
yeah. So yeah, but Kevin Hodge, yeah, been consistent himself.
Yeah,
But nobody's gonna remember the 99. They're gonna remember the hundreds.
that's the truth, right? I mean, they talk about a century, they don't talk about the 99s and the 98s.
No, they come up at the rum shop discussion that always gets
Yeah.
we got run
I'm
out.
curious. Maybe cricket people who are into cricket really would remember it, but
But yeah,
generally nobody does.
nobody does exactly. So yeah, I'm sure he's not happy about that. But let's hope that that game should come down to a good finish. So
Yes, it should be a nice tight game. That's the way it should be. That's how cricket should be, nice tight games.
yeah, definitely. So you're listening to the England Rogers Sports Hour on Love Bay Afrobeats Music Talk Radio. And we'll just quickly just get into let's give you some scores on IPL and update the tables, and then we get into some track and field. This DC Delhi Capitals over Chennai this morning by 25 runs. Delhi Capitals 183 for 6. And Chennai 158. Chennai don't seem to be getting the run. They don't seem to be the same team that they used to be. Have they
I
kept
know.
older
I would just say
players?
they're off to a slow start.
Up to a slow start. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if they kept too many of the older players, but Dhoni
Yes,
came and got a quick 30. So they need to do something with that team. And
yes. They're struggling a bit.
the other game that's ongoing at the moment, I think it just started at 10 o'clock, would have been Rajasthan Royals. They're 77 without loss in only 8 overs. So
That's a good start.
it's a good start. Samson is 32 and Jaswal is
I just,
39.
good,
Yeah,
good.
so that's a good start for them. And on the tables, well, at Rajasthan Royals, I think they had Mumbai Indians, they're at the bottom of the table still. No, they had their first win. So,
Yeah, they have 1 win and 3 losses, but I mean they've played 4 games and they're on 2 points, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
they're not doing too well. But Punjab Kings, 2 games, 2 wins, so they're looking good.
And Delhi
And
Capitals
Delhi
3
Capitals as well. Yeah.
RCB 2-1. Yeah, so KKR 2-2.
Yes.
And yeah, so we'll keep
Still early season though, I will say.
playing
Um,
the season.
we'll see how they work out. But at this point, and it's, as I said, some people are just getting warm, and when it gets to the middle of April, that's when you're gonna see people on fire.
Yes, we definitely will see that. And that will be the time to see who is whether to separate the men from the boys.
There you go. That is so
So,
true.
yeah, so we'll see that. Quickly, New Zealand beat Pakistan again. They're now up 3. Well, actually, they won the series 3-0. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so Pakistan, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Pakistan. Yeah, but there seemed to be some issue with one of the players and the crowd in New Zealand. So,
Okay.
well, the two spectators were ejected.
Hey,
Yeah, from getting into it. Yeah, so
getting into it.
yes,
You don't
yeah,
want that.
yeah. One of the cricketers he almost got into an altercation with a couple of spectators. So
You never want that to happen.
no, I mean, spectators, fans are gonna say what they want to say. You just need to just let it go.
And they enjoy getting under your skin, right? You just gotta know that.
And if you're one to answer and respond, then they're gonna
That's
keep.
the end of it.
Yeah,
You gotta just
yeah,
ignore. Permanent ignore.
definitely. So I think that's it for me for cricket. And
I have a few things about cricket as well.
mhm,
West Indies, let's start with them first, though, because Brathwaite, giving up the captaincy,
yeah,
you think it was
okay.
about time?
Yeah, I wanted to. I think I mentally had a mental block on that. Yeah, But yes, I think it's about time, and he's gonna have to fight for his spot of the team. And they also gave the captaincy for T20 and ODI to Shea Hope.
Yeah, they kicked out Rovman Powell, and he's been very graceful about it. But I think he probably knows they're not going to pick him, so that's why
Yeah,
they took away the captaincy. So
they
that's
should
major
pick,
changes that I think Sammy
they should
is
pick him
making.
actually, and I think he was graceful, but Dwayne Bravo wasn't. Dwayne Bravo was very vocal, said it's the worst decision ever. And he said West Indies continue to treat their players badly. And he meant,
You know what? I wouldn't go as far, but I don't think it was a good call. He didn't deserve to be cut like this,
yes. And
and he has led him to so many victories. He has been, consistently good. He has been innovative. He has been motivational for the team and for everybody. So I was a tad surprised when they did it, and then for Sammy to come out and say, "Oh, it's best for cricket," and all of that stuff.
yeah, he said he wants one captain and the whole new plan and whatever else. And yeah, but yeah, Bravo actually pointed out to which he took them to third position on the T20 rankings. Well,
Exactly.
they're now ranked number 5, but he took them there. And
Yes, and they were like what, 8 or something, right? So I don't know.
they were down at 9.
9, yeah,
Yeah, so he's done a good job.
he did.
And and actually Clive Lloyd came out and said he thinks Shea Hope should be captain in all formats.
All formats.
Yeah, he thinks K. Shea Hope is the right person to take over the captain of the Test team.
Well, I don't know. What's your thought on that? Because I didn't look that far, but
I don't know if he would want to play Test cricket,
that's,
but I was thinking that there may be a guy like Brandon King. I thought Jamaica, will
yeah,
come.
the funny thing, he wants to play Test cricket,
He
Brandon
wants to
King,
play Test cricket. Yes,
and he complains that they don't call him.
yes. But Sammy, and there's a different way the West Indies are looking now. They want to have one coach for all formats, one captain for all
Captain,
formats, and yeah,
that can be problematic.
it probably will be problematic
Yeah, yeah,
because you're gonna have situations where someone might be captain of West Indies and decide there's a T20 tournament and I'm not available.
not available. You can't do that as the captain, right?
Right. Yeah, so that's why Craig Brathwaite was a good fit because he didn't play T20 cricket.
At all, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why Pooran had to quit because he wanted to play T20 all over the world.
Yes, so that's going to be some very interesting discussions.
That is for sure. That is for sure. I don't know a quick thing about cricket. Raymond Reefer. So he got off scotch free. So I think he and John Campbell spoke and said we're not going to play this one day final, and
Yeah.
John Campbell got what 4 months or something like that. But Raymond Reefer
Yeah.
got nothing.
Oh, I didn't even know that his case was heard already.
Well, they said no, they're not even. Yeah,
They're not. Oh, because he brought some lawyers involved. Remember
he
his
did.
lawyers? Yeah.
He did.
Maybe Campbell should have done that too.
Exactly. That's what it says. That maybe Campbell just jumped the gun because
Mhm.
they're saying that they can't lay charges on him because the
But
match referee has no jurisdiction to hear such charges. I think that's what they said.
but if that's the case, then they should have to reverse on Campbell's.
I was wondering. That's what's sort of my question to you is that
Yeah.
why punish one and it's both of them that were there?
Yeah, both of them made the decision and had the discussion. So if you're going to punish one, you should not punish one. Then
Yes,
you should rescind the punishments on the other one.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, let's see if John Campbell says anything about it. He probably just wants to play cricket and not get his name back in the media. But
Yeah, I think
it,
so.
it was a strange decision I see here. I think Reefer did what was best for him, which is as soon as it was done, he got a lawyer.
Yes, he did. And he went to play in the Nepal League and got a lawyer.
Yes, yes. And now he's scotch free. He's a lucky man.
He's very lucky.
Lucky man. And then the last thing, well, a couple of other things quickly in cricket. They all this talk about over there in England
Hmm.
about Stokes taking on the white ball captaincy. I mean, Michael Vaughan has come out and said it's a bit nonsense and selfish. What are your thoughts on this? Why it's such a big deal about Stokes taking on the white ball captaincy?
He said it's selfish, you said? And then,
Yeah, that's what Michael Vaughan says. It's a bit nonsense and selfish.
I don't know. I actually have not been following the England
So much.
so much, but I think Stokes is probably in the best position to do it. I was actually surprised that he quit white ball cricket, and I thought that England is probably the team that will do best with one captain as
Maybe,
for
yeah.
and
He'd be a good fit, for
Stokes
sure.
will probably be the right person.
He's a good fit for sure. I think he probably did it because of his inability to stay fit. I think he's always injured. So I thought maybe he did that because he couldn't keep up. His body couldn't keep up.
Right, but he's not playing in the early stages of this England summer for Durham
Oh,
Stokes. He's still he's still undergoing rehab from his hamstring injury. So let's hope that he'll be back. But they said he'll be ready for the Test series.
yes, they said
So
so.
let's hope that he is. But yeah, I think well, Michael Atherton is always known for controversial statements. So
Oh, yeah, he likes to mix it up.
yeah, he speaks his mind, I guess. You could say that. He
Yeah,
says
so
what's on his mind. I can't say controversial. He just says what's on his mind.
no, what's on his mind? And if
Yeah.
he's not filtered, so whatever comes out, comes out.
Yes. So yeah, but I think Stokes will be a good fit for the captaincy. I'm not
But
sure who else they will give it to.
they can't figure it out. So I don't know. They probably have no choice.
England cricket is in a bit of a disarray. They've fired their female captain also
But they got what, 16 to nothing against Australia?
against Australia, and they've brought back Charlotte Edwards in the coaching,
Yes.
yeah, as a new head coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. England probably need to sit down and figure out where they're going with their cricket.
They're gonna have to do that quickly because right now they're heading down and heading down fast, which is not good.
For sure.
All right, that was it for cricket for me. So I can switch over now to track and field. And as you know, in Jamaica, the Grand Slam English is all about the Grand Slam. And it kicked off last night at the National Stadium, 5:42 as mentioned. The first race, the 200 for long sprinters, which is the sprinters that do 200 and 400. And it was all Gabby Thomas, She was an easy winner. And second was Paulino, which was a surprise because she's really a 400 lady.
That was a bit surprised to me.
Yeah, because you had Dina Asher Smith in there and some real decent sprinters in there. And even Salah Eid Nassar from Bahrain was in there. And Paulino beat her. So I was quite surprised. But at the end of the day, it was all about Gabby Thomas. And kudos to her. She has a Jamaican father. She's in Jamaica, winning the first Grand Slam race. So a lot to celebrate for her.
She was quite happy, yeah.
Very happy. But I think the crowd came to see no one other than Sydney McLaughlin, and it didn't disappoint. Word leading time, and she was extremely impressive, Ingle.
She was. I think, was she the first person to go that fast in the month of April, under 53?
Yeah. Those times don't happen in April. So, to see her win a time like that, 52 in April, is like, whoa. And she was like 20, 30 meters in front or something. 55 was second, right?
It's Sydney and then the rest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And on the men's side, Alison Dos Santos from Brazil, he was also quite impressive as he dominated as well, winning in 47, second was 48 too. So he did 47.5. So Dos Santos looked good as well. So both Sydney and Dos Santos in the 400 hurdles were quite dominant, as well as Gabby in the 200. Some other races, though, we saw Grant Fisher, who broke his indoor world record for USA this year. It was a slow race, though, but he was impressive winning. Barely won it, but he won the 5,000. We saw Nikki Hills, who's a 1,500 runner, run a personal best, and already did 158 over the 800 meters, defeating Mary Moore and Natoya Gould and all those people there, Jessica Hull. So those were interesting races. It set up long distance and short distance and all of that stuff. So this was a short distance where they do 8:15, and the long distance does 3,000, 5,000. So Grant Fisher's long distance, Nikki Hills was short distance. But I think the race that most Jamaicans were waiting for was the 100 meter, which was the last race of the night.
Right.
Very close race. You had Oblique Seville in there. You had Akeem Blake in there from Jamaica. Zarnell Hughes, who trains in Jamaica. So you had 3 Jamaican based in the race. But it was won by none other than Kenny Bednarek, the 200 meter runner.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Pretty impressive because he just held on against Seville. I mean, to the naked eye, it looks like Seville probably got it, but at the end it was Bednarik. So very, very, very close race. But it was pretty good. It was pretty good, and I think a decent start to the Grand Slam. There's always been all these questions. I think just my personal opinion, it started after 5, and work finishes at 5. At 5:40, the stadium was pretty much empty because a lot of people couldn't get there in time.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there was another event across, which is the indoor arena next door, and they had to accommodate for parking and all of that. So people couldn't find parking either.
Oh, wow.
So when it started, it was quite empty. But by the time that 100-meter ran at the end, the stadium was decent crowd. So a crowd, it's important to have good crowd for something like this. And I think they may see a better crowd today because people sort of understand what is going on. But it was a little surprising to see the crowd that was there. Some people were, wow. But on the track, it was good. I mean, as I said, they had world leading times, they had interesting competition. So Michael Johnson has come out and says, yes, he's pleased with how it has started. I think they're giving free tickets to high schoolers today. So if you want to get to the bleachers, you can get a free ticket and go. So they're trying to get the stadium full and a lot of activity in terms of noise. They didn't have any bands there like at Champs, but they certainly had a lot of vuvuzelas, and everybody was blowing and making noise. So they got a good crowd reception. So it wasn't bad for a first Grand Slam. I don't know how it's going to go in terms of, is it going to continue next year? Are people going to keep pumping money into it? But at least it started, and it's day 1 of 3. So let's see how day 2 and day 3 goes.
Yeah, it's as you said, it started. Just like look at the TGL, the golf. It started and then
yes.
So you just gotta give a start, build it, and they'll come.
They will come, and they will come. And of course, a lot of people tend to follow the sport when you can bet on it. And DraftKings are carrying bets for the meet. So I mean, if you can bet on it, then more eyes are going to be on it, and maybe more people will show up. Ingle.
Definitely, more people will show up there.
That's for sure.
And I was a bit surprised at Fred Curley, though, finishing so low.
Yeah, he was 7th, I think. And you know what? He got a great reception from the crowd. So expectations were high. And he's usually a talker, but I know this has been a little quiet this time. So maybe that's why he probably knows he's not in great shape. But he didn't show up at all. He wasn't a factor at any point in the race.
Right, yeah.
Disappointing because everybody wants to see him in the mix. So how it is set up, I mean, the guys you race against, you're going to race against twice. So these are the short sprinters. So they're going to go again in the 200, I think, on Sunday or something like that. So we'll see them again and see if maybe Curley was just having a bad day or not.
Okay. And is it, because I think I heard, I guess Sydney is going to be doing the 400.
Yes. Okay. But how they set it up, so you're going to have the long sprinters. So Gabby's going to do the 400s against Pauline on all of those.
Okay.
Sydney's going to do the 400 against the 400-meter hurdles like Rachel Clayton. And so I think I would have preferred if they had one 400 and the sprinters and the hurdlers come together and meet. But if Sydney's going to get the hurdlers in the 400, she's just going to kill them. Gabby's going to have problems in the 400 because Pauline is there, Nassau is there. The Jamaicans are there, Nikisha Price and Stacey Ann Williams. Alexis Holmes. So the 400 is going to be really, really interesting from a women's point of view. But Sydney's not going to be there because if Sydney was in that race, then it would have been truly, truly, truly interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that's a change they make going forward. But for now, this is what it is. And it's a concept he's trying to generate competition against each other. So you compete against each other more than once. And he pays you $50,000 if you win it. So why not?
Exactly.
Why not? Oh boy! In some other track and field, I mean, the Florida relays are on, and Julian Alfred, who I was hoping would have been in the Grand Slam, she's going to open her season there. So let's see how she looks outdoors. I'm really looking forward to see what she does because a lot of people feel that she's even going to be better this year, and she's already the 100-meter champion, Olympic champion. So indoor, outdoor, everything. So she has a lot of titles on her head right now, and hopefully we can see something very interesting from her. I'm still looking forward to see when Sha'Carri is going to come out. But those are the two I would have hoped would have been in the Grand Slam, but maybe next time around they'll join up.
Is Sharika running today as well?
No, Sharika is not in the Grand Slam either. So no Sharika, no Shelley, no Elaine.
Elaine, wow.
So, the top 3 Jamaicans on paper, they're not there. So interesting to see that. But the crowd was still there, and I think you're gonna have a good crowd again today.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Saturday and Sunday you'll get much better crowds.
Better
Yeah,
crowds for sure, for sure.
definitely.
In some track and field sort of related, in some sort of sad news, Usain Bolt lost his dad, Wesley Bolt. He passed away this week, so condolences to him and the family. I mean, I've met Mr. Bolt, known him, spoken to him a few times. He's called Gideon, it was his nickname.
Hmm.
Extremely nice guy. You know, when he came to Canada, I had lunch with him and all of that stuff. So I know him fairly well. So it's a tough one, but he had a bad stroke years ago, and he never truly recovered from it.
Oh wow.
So may he rest in peace, and
Yeah,
condolences to the family
definitely condolences to his family.
for sure, for sure. And some other track and field related stuff, not really on the track, but one of those tough ones where Jakob Ingebrigtsen and his brothers and sisters are in court testifying against their father
Oh yeah.
for abuse.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And he's saying, the dad is just saying he was, I don't know if I'd say he was exuberant, he was just being overprotective.
Tough dad.
But they're saying it was abuse, man. And everyone is saying, all these kids are saying they were abused, which is just tough to listen to.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, I guess back then, some parents thought this was the right way to handle their kids.
Toughen up your kid, right?
Not good. Yeah, but yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if that's the case, maybe of the Caribbean, maybe Caribbean parents would be said they were abusive too.
They probably.
But it's just a way of tough. The different cultures and different way of toughening up the kids.
I think it's cultural. I think it's
Yeah.
cultural. I mean, yeah, maybe where they're from, it's not because they're over there in Norway. But yeah, it's sad to see, and I think the dad is gonna go down on this one,
Wow, it's so
which is
sad.
just yeah. Quickly on Leslie Tobogo.
Hmm.
Yeah, he said if he didn't get into track and field, he'd probably be a criminal. So
Oh,
shows
really?
that sports is he's from Botswana, it's a tough country, and he was very poor. And he said, yeah, if he never got into track and field, he'd be a criminal. But at this
Shit.
point in time, he has been named the kids' ambassador for the sport. So look at that, eh?
Wow. Yeah, sports is a way out for many people, and some people don't see it that way. But it definitely is a way out.
A big way out, and something I think a lot of kids should look at to see how they can develop themselves to be better people from there.
Always.
Yeah, anything else on track? I know we're almost out of
No,
time.
that's about it. Yeah, I think we've got 3 minutes left. Yeah.
Yeah, so quickly on some soccer. So the Canadian men's soccer team, they keep going up in the FIFA World Rankings. They move from 31 to 30, only one, but I mean, they're on the way up, so kudos to them. But FIFA announced, which I found a little surprising, that the next couple World Cups after this one coming up for the Women's World Cup, 2031, the USA is going to host it, and in 2035, the UK is going to host it. But what is a little surprising to me, Ingle, is that they were the only people who bid for it. So it's like, what is going on? Nobody wants it?
Who wants the World Cup?
Like, what? It's a popular thing, and women's sport is growing, and nobody wants the Women's World Cup in soccer. I was quite surprised at that, actually.
Surprising, unless there's no money to be made.
I'm wondering if what is going on, because women's sport is on the rise and soccer is on the rise, and nobody wants it. They were the only bidders. So,
Oh,
weirdo.
it's
So
weird.
we'll see how that one goes. And I think finally, of course, I don't know if it's a big derby anymore, but there's a derby tomorrow in English soccer. Should we call it a derby, Ingle? With Manchester Derby, or is it no longer a derby? United versus Man United versus Man City. I don't know if it's a derby anymore.
Relax, Theo.
Theo said we're not allowed to talk about Manchester United, but we're just talking about a derby, not about United.
That's true. It's but it's not a derby anymore until maybe in the coming years it will turn to be one again.
No, maybe they're all talking. They're going to get better. I see City's best player, De Bruyne. He's going to be leaving at the end of the season, so they're all going through a transition
for sure. But definitely, and it's always a derby. I mean, for the fans, it is, and they're going to come out in their numbers.
100%.
So that's it. I think that's it for us. Thanks again for joining us on another Saturday to the England Rogers Sports Hour on Love Bay Afrobeats Music Talk Radio. Be good and be safe, everyone.
Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week.